Hello and welcome to Coach M's video. Today we're talking about the actual NBA and the playoffs. And this does tie into NBA 2k a little bit. We're going to talk a lot about what's happening in the NBA. There's a big dynamic shift going on right now, which is actually exciting and interesting. If you're young, this is for you. If you're old, this is for you as well, because the NBA is changing and it is starting to wake up to a lot of things. And we're going to get into it. You're going to be watching some cool highlights of the playoffs right now and what's been happening in the NBA. And you're looking at Maxi playing against my Knicks, which, trust me, I'm so glad that series is over and we won. But Philly fans, don't sleep. It's going to be a crazy good year for Philly. Speaking of Philly and young folks, you're looking at the one and the only Anthony Edwards. That was probably the best moment of the NBA, so I'm going to replay that before we get into the topics and talk about a lot of key things. What you want to understand with these playoffs and what's happening in the NBA is the main topic is going to be about the transition between the young generation who's creating their legendary performances now and building a name for themselves, and the veterans who've been around long enough and done some great things, and the others who pretty much want to do something great and been around for a long time. And all of those are mixed up right now this year. It's so special. It's a really great year because guys like the Suns and the Lakers are the two notable teams that got kicked off of the playoffs, which we would expect them to advance, of course, and that did not happen. You got KD, Devin Booker. Devin Booker's still one of the younger guys, but KD's a little older. LeBron James a little older. And those two guys specifically are what we call, the legends of the game and Hall of Famer players for sure. But hey, do not sleep on the good guys. And we're going to get into it in a minute. But look at this, my boy Paul George. I'm loving that beautiful step back right there. Just vintage Paul George. He's amazing. But speaking of LeBron James, what I wanted to talk about here is, yes, he's going to be coming back, supposedly. It's still uncertain, but I'm pretty sure he's not going to leave like that. And he's going to want one more run, and they'll build a super team around him, and many players are going to want to play with him and try to help out. So that's going to be interesting. But guess what? There's too many great teams right now. Young bloods who are getting the experience in these playoffs and are going to be taking over. And it's going to be interesting. We had Middleton show up for this Pacers game, even though they got eliminated. The Bucks, players are saying, hey, look, we got something here. And I feel like some of those guys are going to be stars next year as well, if they get moved, of course. And we're going to see some big moves this year because it was a lot of failure. People who didn't make the playoffs, people who got eliminated in this first round. And it's going to be super interesting. And I want to kind of touch on just general teams, talking about the Thunder, who were number one in the NBA. And I don't think this gets talked about a lot. I think it's disrespectful that the Thunder kind of going undermined, and people are like, I don't know, man. The Thunder remind me of the Thunder. If you remember back when Westbrook, KD, and James Harden were all, that's a crazy thing that happened in the past. And they made it to the finals. And I feel like the Thunder, the Nuggets have the way to go, but let's just imagine the Nuggets somehow fall apart. Let's just make believe. And the Thunder playing against the Timberwolves or Clippers or Cavs, or Mavs, I feel they have a chance. I'm saying there's a chance. So question you got to ask yourself is, do you feel like the Thunder are the team to beat? Definitely not when it comes to Nuggets being there, and then of course the Timberwolves. But this is a dope thing to have because you have the Maverick, who's basically gonna eliminate Clippers most likely, and then you have the fight against Thunder and one of those older teams. Those are older players, and you have Luka, who's a future star, but they're gonna have to deal with each other. And the dynamics are changing in the NBA. It feels like the refs are starting to respect the young guys. I don't know if you guys actually watch basketball like I do, but they've been getting better calls. They've been protecting the young guys. Normally, it's usually like protecting the superstar main players in the NBA, but some of these young guys are getting the superstar treatment from the refs. And I know this sounds crazy, but the reason I'm bringing up the refs is because I can guarantee you that if a player doesn't have the respect from the refs, then they're going to have a hard time being consistent. Because one game they'll get a call, the next game they get no calls. You know, sometimes players are getting 10 plus points just from free throws. And just from getting good calls so that players won't be so aggressive. So it's just a very interesting dynamic, and I'm loving it right now. And the main topic about the change that's coming is that you're looking at teams like the Nuggets who have a amazing center. And I think the NBA realizes we still need these centers, and we still have to put them in the full front to be who they are. And it's something we've lacked, to be honest. True big men, of course, Joel Embiid and other guys like Anthony Davis are there, but they're not highlighted. They're not the focal point. And it feels like the Nuggets, for example, using Joker so much is showing like, hey, you can have a great center if you build around him and you make it so that he knows how to be a playmaker. It's going to be very hard to stop a center like that. And then, you know, the way they use them and the way they have a dunker like Aaron Gordon, who, you know, basically is always trying to be a threat in the cut. Super cool and amazing to see. Now, I want to talk about some of the young guys and a little bit about my Knicks as you're watching right now. My Knicks taking Joel Embiid, who's pretty much become a villain in the NBA for the dirty plays he's been on, but I love it. I know that doesn't, I'm not trying to promote bad basketball, right? He's done some weird stuff, but you gotta have that grit. And I think Joel Embiid, stop trying to be cool, stop trying to be friendly, and do that. Get out there and dominate. You're the big man. Make people scared of you. Let them know you're gonna hit them hard. Let them know you're gonna clothesline them if you have to, at least once. Let them feel it, and then they'll stop, you know, trying to disrespect and dunk on you or anything like that. So it's just that. I respect that, even though I'm a Knicks fan and wanted the Knicks to win. Joel Embiid earned my respect even more this series, as well as Maxey. Maxey was so good, man. I personally would build my team around him. And know that that's like a little crazy. It's only one good playoff performance like that. But personally, I would build my team around him and go from there. Joel Embiid, if he's healthy, cool. If not, then that's fine. Go get signed somewhere else or something. But I just love him. And it's super interesting this year with all the superstars. And I'm excited. I'm very excited. You got Anthony Edwards, who's super incredible, of course. And then again, just to kind of talk about some of these veterans, you're looking at superstars like Dame Lillard trying to carry a team on his own without Giannis. That's not easy. And shout out to the Pacers. You know, they did their thing. In the end of the day, the Bucks could have won the chip this year if they had enough time together and they played for a long time. The question is, will they stay together? Will they fold and fire all the coaches? Of course, probably. And will they trade and do some things? Probably. But my thing is give them time, let them cook. Dame's a superstar. Giannis is a superstar. And then you have really great pieces. I think they can still be a threat next year once they get the time together for the offseason and things like that. I just love it, personally. But y'all tell me what y'all think when it comes to some of these takes. My goal here is to just talk NBA a little bit on my channel whenever. Excited about the NBA, and just watching these playoffs have been spectacular. I am a Knicks fan, so you are going to hear biasness from the Knicks stuff. But I try to be reasonable, so don't think I'm just going to be like the Knicks are going to win the championship. I actually have the Nuggets and the Celtics in the finals. But of course, as a Knicks fan, I'm going to root for the Knicks to make it to the finals instead. But of course, I know this sounds crazy, guys, but I personally would like to see the Thunder or Timberwolves, young blood in the finals. That's what this video is all about. Well, you can agree to disagree. It's all good. I'm not here to convince you, but y'all let me know if y'all would like that. Just on a personal note, some of my favorite teams, favorite players like Kawhi Leonard, Kyrie Irving, you know, Luca right now, Paul George. Those guys are just some of my top favorites. I would love them to be in the finals, but realistically, none of those teams feel like a threat. But anything could happen. Injuries, you know, bad chemistry, just, you know, silliness. I don't know. And we'll see what happens in the West. As far as the East goes, the Celtics got an easy road to the conference finals. And then in the conference finals, they're going to have to face the Knicks. I believe the Knicks will beat the Pacers. Pacers are great. Don't get it twisted. But I do think the Knicks will take care of them. And the reason I say this is because the 76ers are not a 7 seed. And the Knicks had a decently hard time, but not really. One of those games were a miracle game that the Philadelphia won. But the Knicks were going to beat them regardless. And, you know, Philadelphia would have ended up a 3 or 4 seed in the NBA if they were healthy all year. And then as far as the Bucks, you know, are the 3rd seed. Pacers dealt with them without Giannis and had a little bit of a hard time. 2 games. They should have never lost 1. And so I think the Knicks will take that. Celtics and Knicks. And Celtics are the better team overall, but they just had an injury with Kristaps Porzingis. So I believe that we're going to end up seeing the Knicks give the Celtics a run for their money. And we'll find out what happens after that. But yeah, so the reason why I wanted to bring this up and talk about this is because, yes, NBA 2K25 is 5 months away, right? A couple months away. And you know how it goes. The game kind of starts to dwindle and people start feeling some way and saying they need this to change. They want that to change. And it comes out every year, okay? Let's not act like that's new. And let's just try and give feedback on what we don't like. I do have a video breaking my thoughts on what I feel should change. And if you want to go check that out, it should be popping up on the screen right now. See you there. Peace.